If you are not from Konoha and I sense your chakra, I'm busting my Rasengan. Abandon his gang, slash his headband. Akatsuki Tachi, we wiped out his clan. And they cannot reanimate, they're getting to me. I'm used to them S-rank missions.
Does Boruto deserve all the hate? That is a question for today, and for once you're not making a video shitting on Diagonite, because trust me, it gets old real quick. Today we're making a video discussing whether or not Boruto series hate is justified. So obviously a lot of this is going to be just my opinion, because there is no objective way of answering this question. I'm just going to give my thoughts and leave it at that. With all that being said, let me not make the intro way too long. Let's just jump right straight into it. So I'm going to do this by responding to 5 of the most common criticisms of the Boruto series that I've come across ever since the series started. There are obviously other criticisms, and if we have any more criticisms that you come across that you want me to address, just let me know in the comment section and I will try my best to get to that. So let us get started with the first criticism on the list. Boruto sucks as a character. I get it. I get why a lot of people hate Boruto. I get why a lot of people say things such as him being a whiny brat that doesn't understand what Naruto, his father, had to go through to get to where he is now. I do understand why they hate for Boruto as a character, so I do want to give you a different perspective on this. For once, I would like you to look at this from Boruto's perspective. The thing is, we as the audience know what Naruto had to go through in part 1 and in Shippuden, the pain that he went through and the lessons that he learned, the suffering that he had to endure. We truly understand Naruto as a person and why he acts the way that he does in the Boruto era. That's why every time Boruto whines about Naruto, we all personally feel for Naruto, and we develop this hatred for Boruto as a result. But the thing is, unlike us, Boruto doesn't know what we know about Naruto. He doesn't know what Naruto had to go through to get to where he is. He doesn't even know just how powerful Naruto is. And I'm thinking about the Momoshiki arc, in case you're wondering. That's what I'm talking about, because that's when Boruto as a character got the most hate from the fandom. But here's the thing, I think all that was done on purpose. I think that was the whole point. I think that's how the author intended for Boruto to be as a character. A kid that doesn't know what his father went through to be where he is. In Boruto's eyes, Naruto is an absent father who doesn't care about his family since he's barely home and he dislikes him for it. Boruto doesn't have the knowledge we have on Naruto at that point, and for that reason he doesn't understand Naruto the way that we as the audience do. So in my opinion, we can't really blame Naruto, not Naruto. Fuck, we can't really blame Boruto for knowing Naruto as much as we do. To him, Naruto is just an awful father, and that's why he doesn't really like him. And him planning on fighting Naruto and undermining his power is very telling of how much Boruto doesn't know about his father, because we know how strong Naruto is. Believe it or not, this, as far as I know, is Boruto's arc with the whole Momoshiki thing. In that arc, Boruto is supposed to go through that. He's supposed to go through an arc where he doesn't like his father and gives him a hard time, and then eventually he starts learning more about him and he begins to understand him and respect him as much as we do. And this actually happens. There are a lot of themes that are present in the Momoshiki arc, which include the idea of hard work being better than essentially just cheating, which is what Boruto does. Him and Momoshiki, they do that. They cheat with the ninja tools and the chakra piece respectively. So this is also not just an arc for Boruto, it's also an arc for Naruto as a character. Because like it or not, Boruto was kind of right about Naruto. So this is the part where I rant about why Boruto was right about Naruto. It's gonna be quick and I believe it's necessary. Here we go. Naruto. We are told that the reason you're absent from your family's lives is because of your job as the Hokage. There's just a lot of work that the Hokage has to do, and because of that, Naruto doesn't have the time to go home. We are even shown Naruto sitting in the Hokage's office with a shit ton of paperwork waiting for him. There's really a lot of work for this man to do. So here's the thing, I'm calling bullshit on this. If this was like Tsunade or something, it would make sense, but this is Naruto Uzumaki we are talking about. During the Rasen Shuriken training, we are told that Naruto is able to gain the experience of his shadow clones, so why the fuck isn't Naruto using his shadow clones to do all this work? Like, bruh, during the war arc, a clone of Naruto was capable of fighting against the third Raikage, fight against Madara, Uchiha, and was even capable of creating hundreds of shadow clones of itself. So you can't possibly tell me that Naruto who's way stronger than he was at that time and has access to all of Kurama's chakra can create like 100 clones to do all that work for him. I'm calling bullshit on that. If you're gonna tell me that Naruto can do that, please just do me a favor. Like, get the fuck out of here, bruh. So to some extent, Boruto was actually right. This nigga is just incompetent. Naruto, in my opinion, was an awful dad. I think the writers also know this because during the Momoshiki fight, Naruto actually realized that he's the one who pushed Boruto to that point in the first place, and he has just been absent in the lives of his family and Boruto specifically, and that's why him being absent led to Boruto's cheating and all that. So can somebody please tell me why people hate Boruto for something that is also Naruto's fault? If anything, y'all should be questioning Naruto's actions and stop hating a literal kid for being a fucking kid. So that's my opinion on that. I don't think Boruto deserves all the hate. I think the hate is misplaced and it should go towards Naruto. But I think people should also take a moment to try and see things from Boruto's perspective. That is what I did, and it definitely helped. Now we are gonna move on. The villains suck. Okay, when you say the villains suck, what exactly do you mean? Do you mean they actually suck in terms of abilities, their designs, or their motivations? Like, what exactly do you mean? I will address the arguments I've seen people making regarding the Boruto villains, and there are three main arguments I keep seeing. Number one, the character motivations suck. Now, I would agree that the villain motivations in Boruto are not as interesting as those of the Akatsuki, for example. I don't think Ishigi's motivations come anywhere near those of Pain. I would say Pain is a much better villain than Ishigi in terms of ideologies and philosophical views and stuff like that. But does this mean Ishigi's motivations are bad? No. There is no objectively bad motivation for a character. Different characters have different motivations, and those motivations range from being like simple to like complicated and mentally stimulating. There's a very bad thing that people like to do where they completely shit on one character for having a simple motivation, and then they excuse another character for having similar motivations. A good example of this is Sasori. Sasori is a guy who just wants to be immortal, essentially, and live forever. Why is that better than Ishigi wanting a similar thing? Because Ishigi just wants to be immortal and evolve. Hidan worships Wait. Okay, the script is tripping me. Hidan worships Jashin, like that's it. Code worships the Otsutsuki. How is that different? They are both just two people who worship different entities. Again, I do agree that their motivations are not as interesting as those of the villains like Pain or Madara or Obito, but still, they do have motivations. Motivations are not everything. Not every villain needs a deep philosophical motivation. Case in point, the Joker in most of the Joker iterations in the comics. I don't think they have bad motivations, I just think their motivations are not as good as those of Shippuden villains. That's just it. Number two, their powers are boring. Again, what do you mean like their powers are boring? The biggest complaint I've seen regarding this is with Momoshiki and Ishiki. Momoshiki can absorb ninjutsu, use chakra to amp it, and then release it with more power. How is that boring? If anything, that makes for a better fight in my opinion. The fact that Momoshiki has this ability is one of the biggest reasons why we got to see an epic fight between Momoshiki versus Naruto and Sasuke. The fight choreography was incredible. They can't use ninjutsu because Momoshiki can absorb it and use it against them, so they have to do hand-to-hand combat, which was awesome to see. And then we have Ishigi, who can shrink stuff with Sukuna Hikona, and then he can summon stuff from the dimension Daikokuten, and he can fly and open portals. Again, how is that boring? I don't get it. What I like about Ishigi's ability is that it's very simple. He can just shrink stuff and restore it to its original size. But as simple as the jutsu is, it's actually pretty deadly. You get stared by the rods before you even realize it. All he has to do is just expand them, and you're done. That's something very useful against Naruto and Sasuke, and we see that in the fight. Urashiki is not canon to the manga, but his abilities are pretty cool. Time-related abilities are always cool in my opinion. And Kinshiki, well, Kinshiki sucks, I can't deny that. Now, I don't want to talk much about Ada and Damon because I don't know enough about their abilities. Yes, we do get information about them, but I want to talk about them after getting more info on them, especially Damon. Number three, let's talk about designs. This one is heavily subjective. I don't usually care about character designs that much, but I still don't get it. I can't tell you to like a design. Like I said, that's subjective. Personally, I like the character designs, especially the Otsutsuki. It was nice seeing other Otsutsuki in the story other than Kaguya, and I will leave it here with one statement. I hate Momoshiki as a character before he was inside Boruto. and I know that came out wrong, but I will say, in my opinion, Fuse Momoshiki has the best character design in the entire Naruto series. I love this design so much, and Transform Durashiki just sucks more dick than Mia Khalifa, honestly. His design is just ass. It's a kids show. This is the only Boruto criticism I will agree with. It only applies to the anime, not the manga. The Boruto anime is trash. I saw the first 10 episodes and I was like, hell nah, this shit is dumb as fuck, so I don't watch the anime at all. But the manga, on the other hand, is not a kid story. Like, this shit can get pretty dark. No censorship at all, no jokes, no day in the life of bullshit. Like, it's all just straight up action, and yeah, I kind of like the manga. So I won't spend time talking about this. I will just say the anime is trash. I don't care about it. But there are some things that I like about it, like the deeper arc. I like the deeper arc. I think it was awesome. I like the time slip arc. I think that was awesome, even though the power scaling was off the tracks. But overall, the anime is just bad. The manga is pretty good. So I would agree that the anime is just, it's trash. It seems like it's made for kids. You watch an entire episode where, like, Inogen trains, and his training is essentially learning how to draw. Like, what the fuck? But yeah, the anime is just bad. I would agree with that. Now, moving on. The art is bad. Now, I'm not one to complain much about art. I feel like the comparison between Kishimoto and the new guy is just retarded. There are two people with two different styles, so obviously the art is not going to be the same, it's going to be different. Now, one of the criticisms I've seen is that the art itself is bad, and I don't think that is entirely true. I think there are some parts where the art is just awful, but most of it is not bad in my opinion. It's just not as exciting as that of like Shippuden and Part 1. The art for some of the important fights is often great. I believe the art involving the main characters and villains are often great. Another thing I've seen people complaining about is that there are too many speed lines in the manga. I mean, I can agree with that. I think this is a valid criticism. There's just too many speed lines and blank background in the manga. A blank background is when you have the characters on a panel with literally a plain white background, no objects, nothing. For those of you who don't know, speed lines are these lines placed behind characters to show how fast they are, hence speed lines. So I will agree with this criticism, but saying the art is awful, I think it's just not true. But I guess this again is a subjective thing, so I can't really argue with it. Something, if it's subjective, because that's just people's opinions, you can't argue with someone's opinion. I don't think the art is bad, I just find it average. It's not bad or good, it's just fine. So let's move on. It shits on the old cast. This is one of those criticisms I just find annoying. Like, seriously, this whole thing of how the old cast is being shit on by the writers is just retarded. I'll go through them one by one. Naruto and Sasuke. The biggest complaint about Naruto and Sasuke is that they are nerfed. Apparently people think Kishimoto just made them weaker for whatever reason. That is just straight up wrong. I've already addressed this in my Dragonite is retarded video. So be sure to check that out if you want to see a little bit of power scaling. Basically, I provided my line of scaling to prove why Naruto and Sasuke are not nerfed. Instead, the villains that are fighting in Boruto are just way stronger than the likes of Madara or Kaguya or any Shippuden character for that matter. So the levels of power in Boruto are just way above of those of Shippuden, to the point where Sarada with Heichidori would probably slap the entire Akatsuki without even trying. If you disagree with that, fuck you, debate me, bro. Anyway, Naruto and Sasuke are way too strong for any Shippuden villain at this point, at least before the whole Rinnegan and Kurama nerf thing. But before that, they were way too strong. People use arguments such as Naruto struggling with Delta, and they'll be like, well, it's just Delta, so Naruto shouldn't be struggling with him. But like, I need you to listen to me carefully. If you took 3-Eye Madara, Kaguya, Hagoromo, Hamura, Jubito, 8 Gates Guy, Teenage Six Pass Naruto, Teenage Rinnegan Sasuke, and throw DMS Kakashi in there, Delta would just sneeze and they would all fucking die. Again, if you want an in-depth analysis video explaining how strong Naruto and Sasuke are, I can make that video and post it within a few days. Conclusion, Naruto and Sasuke are not nerfed, they are just fighting villains that are way more powerful than anyone in Shippuden, period. Moving on to two other characters, we have Shikamaru, who apparently has been nerfed and he's not as smart as he was. Now, where is this coming from? I don't get it. Is it because he was outsmarted by Amado, literally the smartest character as of now? Why is it wrong for someone to outsmart Shikamaru? Doesn't that mean that the person is just smarter than Shikamaru? Why does it mean Shikamaru is nerfed? Or how Shikamaru is unable to figure out the effects of omnipotence, literally one of the most powerful abilities in Naruto or slash Boruto, an ability that prevents him from going against it by suppressing any suspicious thoughts. People are just retarded, and we have people saying Hinata got nerfed because she's just a housewife. Like, bruh, she's retired. What the fuck do you expect her to do? The only nerf that Hinata got is the same nerf that Tsunade got. Like, seriously, what the fuck happened to Tsunade's tits? I mean, I hate Hinata, she's a fucking creep, but those tits though, like, what happened to those tits? Anyway, I'm gonna end the video right here. Sorry for not uploading. I told you motherfuckers that I don't make YouTube videos seriously. I only upload when I'm bored. So I will admit though, I'm starting to like this whole anime YouTuber thing. So, you know what? I'm gonna keep making videos just for the fun of it and see where this shit goes. So, bye pussy niggas. I'm out.